squirrels in my attic. I got bats in my head. Well, Bob just leaned over the counter and he shook his head and said, you need home repairs and solutions. Home repairs and solutions. They'll fix your windows, they'll fix your house. They'll even tell you how to get rid of a mouse. Home repairs and solutions.
It's time for Home Repairs and Solutions on AM 560 KWTO, brought to you by Spring Mountain Air. And here's your host, Mark and Mary. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Uh-oh, got y'all choked up first thing this morning.
Boy, I'll tell you what, first thing.
Are you just happy to be here?
I'm just happy to be here.
All right. Well,
I'm always happy to be here.
Me too. It's always good to be here on Friday.
Oh, it's the best part of the week.
Best hour of the week.
And the sun's shining outside, just like it is inside.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely.
Sun shines in here every Friday morning regardless of what it's doing outside, but it is nice and sunny.
That's true. That's true. But I think we might get a little bit of snow or something tomorrow, they're saying.
You know, I heard that we might get a little bit tomorrow or something.
That's okay. So. It's Saturday. I could just stay home.
Oh, hey,
watch
me
it
too.
snow.
Matter of fact, I'm probably going to.
Me too. I'm gonna get all my errands run today, and then when I go home, I'm good.
You're good. That's right. And no need to get back out and just, you know.
Just watch it happen.
Watch it happen. That's exactly. I'll probably get up and go do my little bit of exercise in the morning over at Hammond's Heart and come back home and just kick back and relax. And then I get to babysit my new little grandson tomorrow night.
You do?
Little
Now, how old
Aiden
is he
Scott.
now?
Let's see. Aiden is about 3 months old.
That's what I thought. He's still just a little baby.
He's a little bitty feller.
Oh, how fun.
Yeah. So.
Well, good times.
Oh, yeah. Looking forward to that.
Well, good for you.
Yeah. So,
well, today we have a great guest on the show. He's been on before. It's been a little while since you've been on. But we have Robert Mitchell with us from Kwik Dry Systems. And so welcome back, Robert. It's great to have you back on the show.
It's great to be back.
And I was talking to you earlier, and you were talking about a big project you have going on. And I thought you might want to talk a little bit about that and why you have this big project going on. What happened to these people's home while they were away?
Well, Mary and Mark, they had a frozen pipe. You know, when it gets below 32, water freezes. We remember that from 8th grade science.
That's correct.
And pipes freeze. They have water in them. Matter of fact, anything in your home that has water in it can freeze without what you do best, and that's provide heat.
Correct.
So what are some of the tips? 60 degrees if you're gone, 68, or what would you recommend?
We always kept our house down at the lake when we weren't living there full time in the winter. We would keep it at 50 or above. So I would say, some people think, it freezes at 32 so they can set it on 34. That's not a good idea.
So
you need it a little warmer than that, folks. So, 50 or above, and then we never had any issues.
And then something you mentioned earlier, turn off your water.
Yes, if you're going to be gone, and we have some clients who spend the winter in Arizona or Florida or something, and they're gone for a few months, and it's the wintertime. It's a great idea just to shut the water off. It's a good idea to leave the heat on, too, for lots of reasons. Even if you do shut the water off, you don't want to shut the heat completely off, but just turn the water off. If you're going to be gone for 2 or 3 months, that way you don't have an issue where you come back, a pipe busted, you said, on the 3rd level?
3rd story house.
3rd story.
And a lot of times what happens this time of year, it's a business because maybe they have a 3-day weekend. So they might accidentally turn the heater off or below 50.
Yeah.
And then they come back on a Tuesday or a Wednesday after a holiday and they had a broken pipe. So sometimes the heat can still be on and you could have a broken pipe, but it's all about heat, but it's also a couple other tips, and one of them might be having your pipes well insulated or keeping the outside hose off your faucet this time of year. So there's just a couple of things to consider. If you are gone over a weekend, maybe have somebody watch the house or the business.
Sure. That happened to my son a little over a year ago, and it happened. It wasn't a freezing type situation, however, but you can have all kinds of water issues. The hose to his ice maker broke for no apparent reason. I mean,
that's a big one.
Yeah, they had the heat on everything, and he had a basement, and so by the time he got home at the end of the day, it had already saturated his wood floors. It had gone through to the ceiling in the basement. I mean, it was a terrible mess. It was thousands and thousands of dollars of damage. So it can happen in a very short period of time.
The sad thing about that is the refrigerator line is such a cheap part to it. But when I say cheap, I mean inexpensive and cheap.
Yes.
So sometimes if your refrigerator's, several years old, it's not a bad idea to replace that and probably have a professional do it. A lot of our claims come from somebody that moves the refrigerator,
Yes.
moves it back, and all of a sudden we have that cheap part that's plastic, and then maybe it got brittle, broke, and then they come home the next day and there's water everywhere. So dishwashers, refrigerators, anything with water in it, we've just got to be careful that it doesn't break and then saturate the home or business with water.
Yep, and that happens. That happens actually more than I thought it did, because I know several people now that have had water issues like that. So, and that's some of the things that I didn't really think about until it happened to my son, was to check the line behind the refrigerator. That's something that you just don't think about checking.
No.
And like you said, over time it can become brittle, or maybe develop a crack or something in it, and it might be just leaking a little bit, and you're not aware of it until it actually breaks. Same thing with the dishwasher. I know we kind of had an issue one time where we didn't realize our hose in our dishwasher just had a very small hole in it. So we had a small leak. Well, over time, finally the dishwasher quit working. We had to replace it, and we had a mold and all kinds of stuff when we moved that out, because we didn't realize there was a water leak. And of course, it wasn't a big enough leak that it didn't run out or anything, but it did saturate the floor underneath the dishwasher, and so we had a little issue with that as well. So that's just some things you might want to check on just periodically.
Right.
Just make sure that you're not having an issue, because it can become a big money problem.
Well, we've talked several times on the show, especially, or I always bring up the point, hey, it's that time of year you want to unhook your hoses on the outside. We tend to forget about it. I know I've done it before. And, come spring, you go and you put that hose on or turn it on, and you listen, you hear water. Well, if it's a crawl space house, more than likely the water's going in the crawl space. But if it's a basement home and the hydrant comes out, from a room inside, you got some major problems.
Absolutely.
So you're not only, when you turn it on, you're flooding the inside of your house with water inside that wall cavity. And then you got to cut sheetrock out. You got to repair the hydrant. You got to dry it up and everything, and it can be a huge problem just from not unscrewing that little hose off.
And a very unexpected expense.
Yeah,
I hate surprise expenses.
Yes.
They're just not pleasant to deal with at all. So just something you can think about.
Sure.
So before we get rolling here, because we have a tendency to just start talking and we don't give our guests an opportunity to give their information out, like how can people get a hold of you, where are you located, what's your phone number, and some things that you can do to help people.
Well, you can find us on the internet, kwikdrysystems.com. Unfortunately, Kwik is spelled wrong. That's Kwik. So it's Kwik Dry Systems. I do have a cell phone, landline, however you want to do it. The number is 417-725-6978. That number you could text. You can email me on that, these smartphones.
Oh, aren't they amazing?
They're great.
You can it's like having a little mini computer in your pocket.
So I hardly ever even go to my computer anymore. I've got my smartphone. All my calls get forwarded to that. The emails get forwarded to that. Now you can text those smartphones. So basically, my phone is my lifeline, 417-725-6978. And one thing I like to tell people is that water is our friend. Water is life.
That's true.
But when water goes bad, it goes bad fast, and it goes bad wrong.
Yeah,
so.
That's for sure. That's for sure. So, is that what the bulk of your business is? Is just
Yes.
cleaning up water damage for people and that type of thing? And what about people? Now, I know some people have sump pumps. Is there any kind of maintenance or anything they need to do on those? Because we've had sump pumps. We've had clients call and their sump pumps have failed, and they didn't realize that maybe you don't go to the basement a lot or whatever, and then you've got all this water that's backed up. What do you deal a lot with those type of issues?
We do, Mary, and I wish I could think of something my dad would say about when it comes to a machine, but usually probably couldn't say it on the radio. But if it's a machine, it needs to be maintained somehow.
Absolutely. Yes.
And I think the best way to maintain something is probably a professional, like a professional plumber. They could actually flood-proof your home, check your sump pump, check your dishwasher like you were talking earlier, maybe replace the line on the refrigerator. But sump pumps, what happens is I just heard that the Mississippi River is like 10 feet down.
Yes.
Right.
So
Yes.
I haven't noticed, but I guess we haven't gotten any rain lately.
Not so much.
So
no.
if you haven't gotten any rain, your sump pump's probably not acting. And so it's probably just a little $2 float sitting in this hole in the ground that hasn't been running because there's no water in there to make it run. So that probably needs to be maintained. A quick fix is probably WD-40, or maybe pour some water in there and make it run. Or call a professional, just have it tuned up, because then all of a sudden it rains like crazy and it sticks and it doesn't work, and then you have a flooded basement. So when you asked what we do, the first thing we do is we handle a water problem. But then it's the consequences. And I think you were talking about it, Mark. You have hardwood floors that are wet. You have carpet that's wet, drywall. So at that point, we work as a general contractor, and we only hire professionals. So we'll call a plumber, or we'll call a drywall expert, or somebody like you to take care of the HVAC, because if that gets underwater, you want that fixed.
Oh, yeah.
And so we just act as a general contractor to take care of all of the problems that after the water damage. The mold cleanup under the dishwasher that you were talking about, we can take care of that. So once you have a water problem, we're there to fix it. If you want to do water prevention, water damage prevention, we're there as well, and we can give people tips. If they call that number, we can give them tips on how to prevent a water problem.
We always talk about prevention on this show.
That's right.
Prevention is always a good thing. It's always to be proactive and not reactive, if at all possible.
And that goes for anything, whether it's your health or your home or whatever.
Yep, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, prevention is the best thing. And something else we need to do, we need to give out our numbers right now so folks can call in if they do have a question.
That's right, we do.
And that's, if you're local here, 862-9977, 1-800-375-0056. Free call for no matter where you are. Or if you don't feel like talking on the radio, you can text us at 417-838-3192. And I'll read your text on the air and answer your question.
Absolutely. You know, one thing we need to do from last Friday, we had a caller inquire about the siding that we were talking about, and you were going to get back with that information.
Yes, and I do have some information, but better than that, Kevin Cross, the owner and manufacturer of the siding, is going to be with us on the show next week. So, so we need you to tune in. But Cross Tech Construction Products, they got a 30,000 square foot manufacturing facility right here in Springfield, and they got a website that you can go to. It's CrossTech. That's CrossTechCP.com, and the CP stands for the construction products. But go on there and look. They got all kinds of neat things, and their address and phone numbers on there. But it's pretty amazing, this siding. And we're putting it on as we speak on one of our new houses that we're building out Sheila Ridge in Republic. And we're really anxious to get that on because it's such a neat product, very durable. It provides some R value. And Kevin will tell us all about that next week.
See, you are so good. Not only does he get the information, he gets them to be a guest on the show.
That's right. I thought, hey, we might as well just go all the way with this now.
I'm telling you. That way, if you got questions next week for siding people, hold on. They'll be here to answer them.
It's manufactured right here in Springfield. It's relatively new, and I think it's going to be a great product. So we got a call. We got Cliff and Clever. Go ahead, Cliff.
Good morning, Mary.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Cliff?
I'm all right. I have a big Spring Mountain air truck out in front of my driveway.
I thought that was you. I was going to say hi to you and tell people that we have a client and Clever who listens to the show and that we're putting in a system for him today. So I'm glad you called in.
That's right. Well, I had a question for the young man that's talking about water in your basements and stuff.
Okay.
But I wanted to tell you that I'm very pleased with your service because your guys come in with footies on, and my wife thinks that's neat, that they wear footies on their shoes so they don't get her carpet all dirty.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And you ladies know what that means, don't you?
Yes, we do. It is. It is. You don't want to have to shampoo the carpet after the construction guys left. That's for sure.
That's right. But anyway, my question is, when I was in California, I had a sump pump that was it was an 1/8 of an inch clearance, and it had no float on it, and it come on when the water built up the 1/8 of an inch because it allowed the electricity to flow. Do they still make those?
I haven't seen those. So all the ones I'm familiar with have a float, and that's a good system. And they're about 3 foot into the ground under the concrete. But yeah, I'm not familiar with that. Are you, Mary?
Yeah.
No, I'm not. I think all the ones that we've run across have had the floats as well.
I'd have to dig a hole in my basement to put one of those in, because I don't have the ability. They people that built the house didn't build a hole for the float to go in, the pump. So I have to get something that will tell me when the water starts to build up anywhere. And they've got alarms that do that, but they don't. I haven't found a pump that has that ability.
Yeah, those alarms are like what Mark was saying. That's a detection. I like the prevention idea a little bit better than an alarm. Oh boy, you have water. A little late, but at least you have water. But we do install sump pumps, and basically we cut a hole in the concrete, a big hole in the concrete, put them 3 foot deep. And do you all do that, Mary?
No.
And we put it in there and then set up a system. So I think every basement in Missouri should have a sump pump.
Well, I agree with you. The only problem is that where I've lived before, if you put one of those in, you had more problem trying to seal the darn thing up, and you always had water seepage. So that was the problem that I had, was trying to get them sealed so that you wouldn't have water in your sump all the time.
Right.
So, because it does build up a mold in there too.
Yeah, it does. And there is products that they make that you can put in those sump pits. If your sump pit stays damp and wet, bacterial or antifungal, whatever you can put in there to maintain that some too.
And if those stay wet, that just means that you have a high water table under your concrete, which I guess is the reason why you need it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It proves you need it. If it's wet, you need it.
So, but anyway, go Spring Mountain Air because they give good service, and they were out here at 8 o'clock this morning. And Nathan got his crew running, and he said they'll be done by 5 o'clock.
And they will.
And that's right. And he guaranteed me he'd be back to help them if they weren't getting done.
And he would do that too. Yes, he would.
Yes, he is. He's a good boy, dear.
Well, thank you very much, Cliff.
We really like him. So you have a good day. I'll keep listening.
Okay, you too. Thanks for calling in today.
Very nice call.
Yes, it was. I was gonna do a shout out to him. Nathan said when he got out there, he had the radio on and said he didn't want to miss the Home Repairs and Solutions show. He listens every Friday when he can. So
well, thank you, Cliff. We
yeah,
appreciate
absolutely. That. And I was gonna say if you do miss a show, you can go to the Spring Mountain Air website and find the shows. If you've missed one, you can go back and listen to it on our website. So you can either listen to the last 4 shows under the radio tab, or you can go to Mary's list and find whichever company that you want to re-listen to, and go there and listen to the show that you didn't get to hear. So there you go. There's all kinds of places to listen to us. So if you miss us live, you can get us, on the YouTube channel.
That's right.
On our website. So.
And I just got a text.
You did?
And this is actually from one of your competitors, Compass Restoration, and praising you for the good work you do. He says it's nice to have great competition, and that you all do quality work, and that's good. And that's what we like. That's what we like to hear.
I know Ken, he's an excellent company as well, and he's a terrific guy, so I appreciate that.
So, and we like that. There's
Absolutely.
There's nothing worse than having poor competition, where you got somebody that's undercutting you on price and the people go to them, but they do such bad work, we don't like to hear that.
No.
And we do like to hear the folks that we have on the program here. I think that's so neat that your competitor will actually say, hey, these guys do good work.
Absolutely. Well, good competition is good for everybody.
Yeah.
If everyone is doing quality work and providing good service and all that, and like you say, it's the ones that aren't that pull everybody else down.
Sure.
So a good competitor is positive for everybody.
Sure.
We've had that happen where we've had someone give us a call. Maybe we've gone out and given a bid, and they thought, oh, we were just too high or something. Invariably, we'll get that call.
Sure.
The guy who put this in won't come back. We're having a problem. This isn't right. They won't fix it. On and on and on. And so then we have to go and, try and clean up someone else's mess. And it's just, it just happens. It probably happens with everybody that's in business, I would imagine. Yeah. So, I think that's great that he called in and commended you, Robert.
Yep.
So
Yeah, I appreciate that. And of course, Mary, this. There's just so much that needs to be done. One company can't do it all.
Exactly.
No, absolutely
How many
not.
times in the heat of the summer have you gotten so many calls on furnaces, and you just can't keep up? So,
if we were the only heat and air company in town, there'd be a lot of people that wouldn't have heat and air when they needed it. We couldn't accommodate everybody.
And that's the way my business is with emergency service. There's some great companies in town. Paul Davis, I know Julie Mercer with Paul Davis. She's a terrific. I know David with ServPro. These guys, when we get bombarded with water, there's a lot of companies that can help out.
Absolutely.
That's great. I hear that music.
I do too. That means we're already halfway through the show.
Wow. Man, this has gone quick.
It has. Well, don't go away, folks. We will be back.
They'll fix your windows, they'll fix your house, they'll even tell you how to get rid of a mouse. Home repairs and solutions.
Here's news on the Ozarks News Network. A woman is under arrest following a high-speed chase this morning. It began at Highway 65 and James River Freeway when officers tried to pull over a suspected drunk driver. The chase wound through Rogersville, Sparta, and Ozark at speeds up to 100 miles per hour and ended at Highway 65 and Evans Road. A woman charged in connection with the deaths of Rusty and Rebecca Porter of Willard has pleaded not guilty. Wendy Friend is charged with 2 counts of conspiring to commit murder in the deaths of the Porters. Friend is due back in court in March. 3 others are also charged in the case. And customers of Empire District Electric will get a chance today to talk about a proposed rate increase. The Missouri Public Service Commission is holding a public hearing at noon at Reed's Spring City Hall. Empire is seeking a rate increase that would cost a customer using 1,000 kilowatt hours about $6.60 more per month. For the Ozarks News Network, I'm Arlen Summers.
Technology's great when it works. Hi, I'm Kim Commando. On my show, I talk about how to make the digital world work better for you. I can help you with everything. Cell phones to iPods, big screen TVs to internet safety for your kids, and the latest gadgets and gizmos. It's a digital world. I'll help you get the most out of it. It's informative and a heck of a lot of fun. Join me, Kim Commando, on KWTO AM 560, the Talk of the Ozarks.
The Kim Commando Show, Sundays from noon to 3 p.m. on KWTO AM 560.
This is Jim James. The choice of an attorney is too important to make based solely on advertising. You've seen or heard this at the end of all lawyer advertising, but it's true. If you want to learn more about making the right choice, or just want to let me know what you think about our civil court system, our juries, or judges, tune in to Legally Speaking with Jim James every other Tuesday, alternating with the Ferris Mortgage Hour at 2 p.m., right after Rush on KWTO AM 560, the Talk of the Ozarks.
The best way to grow business? Meet someone new and share what you do. January 11th from 9 to noon, you can meet and share over and over and over again. Join AM 560 and businesses from all over the Ozarks for Network 2013, the area's largest ever networking event. Admission is $5 and includes free seminars, prize drawings every 5 minutes, and people eager to meet and learn about your business. Meyercom, Color 10, and 100 Fold have combined efforts with one goal in mind: to provide business people a place to meet, share, and learn about one another's services, in the sincere hope that relationships made will grow into friendships and impact business for years to come. This day, this event has been created to help you grow your business. Network 2013, January 11th, 9 to noon at Remington's Event Center, Kansas Expressway at Republic Road. Special thanks to Guarantee Bank, Wireless Trends, Holmes & Griffith Financial Planners, Rapaholic, and Service World Computer Center.
A nice day today as we see plenty of sunshine, the high of 40, turning cloudy tonight. We will see a few snow showers late. We're down to 28. As we start the weekend tomorrow, we will see a snow shower around early on. Otherwise, times of clouds and sun by the afternoon. High of 44, low of 23 tomorrow night. Plenty of sunshine on Sunday, the high 37. A mix of clouds and sun on Monday, the high 45. I'm AccuWeather's Jason Lord.
At 10:33, we have 35 degrees and sunny skies at AM 560 KWTO.
Well, I went down to the hardware store to see my old friend Bob. I said my roof it leaks, my rug's a mess, and my front door needs a new knob. I got squirrels in my attic, I got bats in my head. Well, Bob just leaned over the counter and he shook his head and said, "You need home repairs and solutions. Home repairs and solutions. They'll fix your windows, they'll fix your house, they'll even tell you how to get rid of a mouse. Home repairs and solutions."
And we're back with the second half of Home Repairs and Solutions.
Yes, we are.
Brought to you by Spring Mountain Air, your local Amana dealer.
That's right.
We do heating and air conditioning. Most people know that by now, if they've been listening.
If they've been listening.
So.
We may have some new listeners.
Might have some
out
new
there,
listeners.
though.
You never know.
That's right.
Never know.
That's right.
It doesn't hurt to repeat it once in a while.
Not at all.
Nope. And that kind of reminds me what I do when I'm not on the radio.
Yeah.
You have a day job?
So, I do have a day job, but this is my most fun job. I like this job the best. I learn a lot on this show.
Oh, I do too.
We learn lots of stuff on the show. We have great guests like you, Robert.
Thank you.
And we also have, we haven't said this yet, but Robert brought his little granddaughter Paige with him today.
Yes.
So she's got some earphones on and she's listening and she's getting a little live radio experience. And Paige is in second grade. And so she's hanging out with Grandpa today.
Yeah.
So
Fun day.
good to have you, Paige. You're welcome. We were talking at the break. Now you've got some stuff going on, music-wise, that you've been working on.
Well,
that's
I
coming
do.
up.
You know, every year for the past, well, this will be the 7th year. We've done a big fundraiser for Convoy of Hope, and got the date set for March the 2nd. It'll be on a Saturday out at River Bluff Fellowship, which is where we have all of our bluegrass stuff anymore. It's out on Evans Road between Springfield Lake and 65. And I've got 10 great bands booked to be there this year and maybe a few surprises. And we're just going to have a big day of bluegrass and gospel music and maybe a little country music. And it's all going to go, everything goes to benefit Convoy of Hope. And like I say, this is our 7th year of doing this. And me and my buddy Gene Reasoner, we put this on, and a gentleman named David Dean, and we just have a great time.
And when is this coming up?
March 2nd.
March 2nd.
Yep.
Put that on your calendar, folks.
Absolutely. Put it on your calendar. And
that sounds like it might be a long way away, but it's really not.
Oh, no.
It'll be here really quickly. So if you're like me, if you don't put it on the calendar, you're going to miss it.
You're going to miss it.
I have to put everything on the calendar.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I get myself lost and confused and don't know where I'm supposed to be.
Yep, that's right. And our organization, the GOBS, the Greater Ozarks Bluegrass Society, they take a big part in helping us on that too. Of course, I'm the vice president of that organization, and so we have our monthly jams out there at River Bluff, which that'll be coming up next Friday, the second Friday of each month. And so we just invite folks to come out and find out more about the Convoy fundraiser. And we try to raise $4,000 or $5,000 to give to Convoy of Hope. They're such a great organization.
They are. They help a lot of people.
They do.
A lot of people.
And, between them and, of course, we support the Breast Cancer Foundation, the Ozarks all the time, too. That's my two favorite charities. And we put in a lot of work on this show, and we have 400 or 500 people come out, and we fill the auditorium up. It's a great time.
I'm sure it is. Now, is there what's the entry fee?
It's a $10 donation at the door for a whole day of music stuff. And like I say, we try to book some of the top bands in the area. We got a couple groups coming from around the St. Louis area and from all over, and some great music.
So $10 will get you in for the whole day.
$10 get you in for the whole day.
Wow.
And also this year from Atlanta, Georgia, He's been there before. We've had a lot of people ask about him again. A gentleman named Chuck Day. He is the Christian Country Entertainer of the Year. He's coming all the way up from Atlanta, Georgia to be with us. And so they'll get to see Chuck. And so it's going to be a great day of entertainment.
That'll be great.
For a great cause.
Absolutely. And speaking of great cause, we have Robert Mitchell here with Kwik Dry Systems, and he's a great person to know if you have a water problem in your home.
You want to know him.
I hope I never have a water problem.
I hope you don't either.
But if I do, I've got you. I'll have you on speed dial.
Yes.
Because I want help right now.
You could even Facebook me.
I could even Facebook you. Yeah, I mean, all kinds of ways to get hold of Robert here.
You Facebooked me when I was in Europe saying, hey, where are you?
I did. I was trying to get a hold of you to have you be on the show, and I'm like, Robert, where are you? You're not answering my phone call. Well, then I found out why.
I was on my second honeymoon.
I know, in another country, so
yes.
I can understand why he didn't call me back. That's okay. You're excused. You get a pass on that one.
$18 a minute.
Yeah, that gets a little pricey, doesn't it?
Yeah. But, you know, that's something that's very important. If you have a problem, you want to get on it, bam, like that. You don't want to, because if you let water set, it continues. You may get the source shut off, but the damage is going to continue.
Mark, we call that secondary damage. So the first damage is the water, which is pretty bad, but the secondary damage is what really hurts. And I would say, not to be an alarmist, but every second matters.
Sure.
And then definitely every day matters.
Oh, absolutely.
So on your situation with your dishwasher, if you would have spotted a small little leak immediately, that would have been no problem.
Right.
Water wants to dry.
Sure.
But when it can't, then it's either going to mold or start rotting wood or doing different things like that. So water wants to dry if you can get it quickly. A lot of our business, you were asking earlier, sometimes we're in and out fairly quick because they catch it immediately. And then it's just drying it. We can dry the drywall. You can dry the carpet.
Yes.
You can dry wood.
If you catch it soon enough, yes.
If you catch it quickly, we can get in and out even before you have time to file a claim. You could just literally call us. We could start the drying process by the time you call the insurance agent and call the adjuster. They come out. They're going to be very happy because you're actually saving your insurance company money by getting it dry quickly.
Sure.
And you're saving yourself a huge headache.
Yes.
And stress.
Yes, absolutely. There's nothing worse than having to pull down drywall, and you kind of have to tear up your entire home and then put it back together, and it's just a big mess.
Yeah, it's better to get it dry quickly and not have that secondary damage.
Sure.
And
now, when you do that, when you're talking about coming in and drying somebody's like basement or whatever, how do you do that? I mean, what are you drying it out with? Are you using like big fans? Or are you using heaters, or what do you use?
A combination, depending on the time of year, whether it's hot or humid outside. August is a tough time to dry a building because
I'll bet.
You're fighting Mother Nature. One of the benefits of a frozen pipe that we were talking about earlier is it's so cold that secondary damage doesn't happen immediately, because if the building is cold, you're not going to be as susceptible to mold. So mold needs 50% and higher humidity and about 70 degrees. So that's why that pond in August is green.
Okay.
But in January, it's clear.
Clear.
Same pond, same germs are in it, but during August, all that mold will just really explode. So when we get a call, the first thing we do have to do is dry the building. So we have extractors that suck all the water out of the carpet. We can get as much water out before it saturates the wood and all the other products of your home. Then we do bring in blowers and dehumidifiers. Sometimes we might have to pull the pad. We might do a little bit of invasive things to help dry the rest of the building. And then once it's dry, it's easy to button back up. We might have to clean the carpet. We might have to maybe replace the pad.
Right.
But it's just a lot. It takes about 3 or 4 days versus a couple of weeks.
Oh, okay. That was my next question, is about how long does it take to typically dry something out
It's a good 3 days, because you're not only drying what you can see, you're trying to dry what you can't see.
Yeah.
So if you can picture that you have a paint on the outside of your wall, then you have trim, and then of course and then you have the drywall, then you have the studs on the inside. So we're going to try
insulation.
We're going to try to dry what you can't see. And so water, like I said a minute ago, wants to dry. So it will go to dry. So as the air dries, then the drywall dries, then the water inside the walls start wicking out and it just starts drying. So a lot of times if it's a smaller water problem, we can dry the carpet from the top down. So we dry the top of the carpet and everything just wicks up. But we've got to be cautious of, how wet is the subfloor.
Sure, sure.
And one thing about nowadays, if it's a newer home or whatever, our construction is different than it was 20 years ago, because now most builders use like the Avantech flooring and stuff that moisture don't damage as quickly or as much.
Yeah.
And so you won't have as much damage on the subfloor. Used to, when we did the old particle board underlayment, oh my.
In the
particle
80s.
Board in the 80s.
When we get a house that's in the 80s, it's particle board.
It's particle board.
That's got to come out.
And it'll swell up on you, and it's terrible.
Buckle the floors and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, but nowadays, a little bit better, better
that
products.
Advantech is a beautiful product. Matter of fact, the house that we're working on that you asked earlier, it's all Advantech. And once we've got the carpet up and the hardwood floor up, the subfloor is fine.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. Something to think about if you're going to build.
Sure. I was selling lumber when Advantech came on the market, and I was amazed. I took a piece of it and put it in a deal of water and left it for days. I mean, it didn't swell, didn't do anything. I was really amazed at how well the product holds up.
And now, when you're talking about that, is that the underlayment? What is Is that the subflooring, or what is that?
You would probably call it plywood.
Okay.
So that's your plywood that you put down, and subfloor, underlayment, whatever you want to call it. But it's a fancy word for plywood, I guess.
Plywood, yeah.
Okay, then you put your wood floor or your carpet whatever on top of that. Okay,
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but used to, in the old days, well, even like say back in the 80s, they'd use either just plain plywood, or sometimes use 1x and even lay it on an angle or a diagonal, and then we'd come in and we'd take particle board and lay down over that, and for the actual underlayment that your carpet and your hardwood and everything went on. And like Robert was saying, when that stuff gets wet, you got to take it
over.
out.
Yeah,
it's over.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
over.
It just turns into sawdust and
Sure.
swells and everything else. And so, but we don't see that really anymore.
No.
If we do see any underlayment, it's usually under like tile, and they use like a hardy back or a cement type board. And so the floors are just a lot more stable than what they used to be.
Good to know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good to know.
Something else good to know is the numbers, how to call in and get a hold of us before we're too late.
It is.
Yeah. 862-9977, 1-800-375-0056, or give us a text at 417-838-3192. And we'd love to hear from you. Free call, so there's no excuse.
That's right.
You don't even have to talk on the air if you don't want to.
That's right. And and if you do call in, we can't see you.
No.
So it's okay. I mean,
Yeah.
you can call in from wherever you are.
Well, and that's why you have me on here. You always tell me I have a face for radio.
Now, Robert, I've never told you that.
She tells me that.
Well, I can tell you that and get away with it.
That's true. That's true. But no, seriously, give us a call if you got a question for Robert or whatever you want to ask. Well, we'll try to find the answer somehow. But right
Absolutely.
now, we're talking about keeping your house dry.
Dry.
And Mary, I also work with a lot of different contractors like yourself. So if somebody had really any question about construction or prevention or plumbing, I probably wouldn't have the answer, but I'd probably know somebody that would.
Sure.
So it would be okay for them to call, and that at no charge I try to give them a referral or let them know somebody that I know that I've worked with in the past that I trust.
Yeah, we do that too. We have a lot of clients who call in and they trust us. A lot of people listen to the show and know we've had professionals on the show, and so we'll get calls once in a while wanting us to refer, a plumber, electrician, or whatever it is, and we're happy to do that as well. Sure. So, what I think is great about what you do, Robert, is that you come in and you dry it out. But like you said, if there's other additional problems, it's great that you can act as the general for your client. That way, first of all, it's got to be upsetting anyway that they have the problem. And then I can't imagine if you came in and dried out and say, okay, well, there you go. Now you got to find someone to do this and that and the other. It can be almost overwhelming to someone who doesn't deal with contractors on a regular basis. It's hard to know who to call, who to trust. So they can call you, you can come in, they can trust you, and you will find them some good help to take care of all of the additional problems that the water causes. And to me, that is that's just worth its weight in gold.
That's our specialty.
Absolutely, that's worth its weight in gold right there. Just to have someone you can trust that will take care of all of the issues, not just the one specific issue. So I think that's a wonderful service that you provide.
Now I got a question, and this will be for both of you.
Okay.
What is this is something that nobody ever thinks about till it's too late and it happens. Condensate drains. When you're running that air conditioner, when we got this August hot, humid weather, you're running that air conditioner in the summer, it condensates.
Yes, it does.
And you usually have a pan or however that works.
It condensates as if it's working properly.
If it's working properly.
Yeah.
Well, I have seen where those drains plug up.
Yes, they do.
And it backs up.
Yep.
And it gets in your house. Is
correct.
That true?
That is absolutely correct.
That happens.
That is why we recommend every spring you have professional maintenance. Part of that is that we make sure that condensate line is clear and everything is cleared out of that thing. And that happens frequently. That is the number one reason for a service call in our industry is a clogged water condensate drain. Yep. That is the number one reason that we get calls, people who don't do regular maintenance or whatever. For our industry nationwide, that is the number one issue that signals a phone call. Yep.
And Mary, sometimes things like that are not insured. So
no, they're not.
Whenever it's a maintenance issue, you may not be insured. That slow leak in your dishwasher, that wasn't insured.
No, it was not.
And it can be insured on the clogged if there's a lot of water at once. But usually that's a slow problem, and it's going to build up, and that's not an insured item.
Right.
So preventative maintenance is the key.
Yep, that's correct. So, that was a good question, Mark, because that's something that we actually deal with as a company a lot in the summer, is we do get those clogged condensate lines. Or sometimes we'll have people call us and say, if they're not sure I have all this water coming out of this drain. That's good. That's good. As long as it's coming out the end of the drain where it's supposed to on the outside of the house, that's a good thing. So we do have those calls once in a while too. But anytime that you see a water issue that you're not sure of if it's supposed to be there or not, it's a good idea to call someone and make sure, like the condensate drain, it's supposed to drain out. That's a good water thing. If it's running out from underneath your air conditioner or your shower, that's not a good water problem. You need to get that addressed right away. And that's where Robert comes in with Kwik Dry Systems.
Absolutely.
Well, earlier we had a call, your friend Cliff, one of your customers, and he was talking about sump pumps. And I had a sump pump installed in a crawl space for my condensation line.
Yes, you can do that.
And I hadn't had the sump pump before that because the condensation line was going outside. That sump pump ran all year. And I never realized that I needed a sump pump in that crawl space, and that's why my crawl space was so wet.
Wet, yes.
And then that wetness transfers to your house.
Yes, it does.
So if you have a crawl space that's damp, and you could put a sump pump in there and then keep it dry, and then that keeps the rest of your house dry as well.
Most crawl spaces in Missouri are damp.
Yeah.
Most of them are.
Yeah.
So.
And what happens is the water's rising. It's constantly rising or wicking to the top. And so when you have that sump pump, it keeps the dirt dry under your house, and that's going to keep the rest of your house drier as well.
Absolutely.
We got a caller holding on. Let's talk to Dan. Go ahead, Dan.
Thank you very much for taking my call.
Oh, you're welcome.
I'm sorry I haven't tuned in until just this last minute, so I'm not sure what the program's about, but I do have questions about thermostats.
Okay.
Recently, I've noticed the central heat will kick on, run for a while, reach its temperature, kick off, and then 10 minutes later, the blower, it's not firing the box, but the blower comes on, and it'll run for, 5 or 6 minutes, and then it shuts off. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do, but you know what, Dan? I am not the tech of our company, and I know that we've run across that before. I don't know what the answer to that is, but I can tell you if you want to call the office at 831-4036, they can help you get an answer to that question.
831-4036. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thanks for calling.
Bye now.
Bye-bye. That's where I need Nathan on the show.
Yeah.
I'm just not the tech of the business. I don't understand how all that stuff works with thermostats and blowers. And
And I know just enough probably to get me in trouble. And there's I know used to when your furnace kick on and run and kick off, and the blower immediately kick back on for a little bit and kick off. There's usually a problem that too much heat in a heat exchanger, something like that. Anyhow, it would kick on to cycle that out or whatever. But otherwise,
there's so many different furnaces now, though. Too, we have two-stage and variable speed and all this stuff, and I don't. Nathan is the one who keeps on top of all that, and he knows all that, and he can answer those kind of questions. And sometimes he can help a client just over the phone. It might be something simple.
Sure.
Some people are kind of handy and can do a few things like that on their own. Mm-hmm. Some people can't, and that's okay too. But yeah, a lot of times we'll have people calling with different questions like that, and I just have to get a hold of Nathan and have him call them back. So I don't want to give someone wrong information and tell them something that's not right. So I'd rather them just call the office and get the right answer.
Well, it wasn't during break we were talking about sometimes we just have to say,
we don't know. Yeah, we don't know everything, that's for sure.
But we usually always have the resources to direct them to the right people who can get the answers. We do.
Or we will research it.
Sure.
We'll research it and have an answer the next week for you. So we're happy to do that as well. So
absolutely.
If you have a question and we don't know the answer, we'll find it for you.
That's right.
We don't mind doing that at all.
Not at all.
So,
but it is a good idea for him to call the office and get a hold of one of the techs because they can answer that question.
And Nathan might be there now. I'm not sure what his schedule was today, but he might be in the office. Sometimes he is now more than he was before. And so sometimes you can call and talk to him right away. Other times you have to wait just a little bit till we get hold of him, and then he'll call you back.
Yep.
But he will take care of your questions when it comes to the technical side.
There you go.
So, Paige, I have a question for you. What do you think of the show today? Are you doing okay?
Yeah.
Are you having fun?
Yeah.
Well, good. Are you going to come back with Grandpa and see us again someday?
Maybe.
Okay.
Oh, maybe.
We like to have our young listeners come and be on the show with their guests sometimes. Both of my granddaughters were on the show and they had a great time. So it's always fun to get the younger ones involved a little bit.
Oh, yeah, it is.
You never know. I mean, they're the future. You never know. She might be a great radio star someday, and she'll already have experience. She'll know what's going on.
There you go. That's right. So, we got a couple minutes left.
We do.
And so, Robert, give out your information again, how folks can get a hold of you.
The best way, Mark, is my cell phone, which is also a NIXA number, but it's 417-725-6978. And so what I've done is I've converted that landline to my cell phone since I'm on the road all the time.
Sure.
And I have found people like to text.
Yes, they do.
So people like to text those questions that you were asking a while ago. So a lot of my customers will text me questions or their address or different. Me and my other contractor friends, when we're working together, we'll text each other back and forth, and just tremendous. So the best way is 725-6978. And then if I'm on my second honeymoon, you might Facebook me.
Which is what I did.
So yeah, you could Facebook me. We're Kwik Dry Systems on Facebook. We like our clients to go to Facebook and like us and make comments. And
Sure.
So probably Cliff could go to your Facebook.
Yes, we Spring Mountain Air also has a Facebook page, and you can look us up, just Spring Mountain Air on Facebook, and we do kind of some fun stuff on there every day. We have some fun things on there that we put on there that people like to read, and you can respond to and that type of thing. So.
And Mark was talking about researching on kwikdrysystems.com. My son actually built that website, and he's more of the studious type. So he's got a lot of stuff on there about mold and water prevention and fire prevention.
Some great information.
Great information.
Be ready to read. There's a lot of stuff on there. Kwikdrysystems.com. That's KWIK, spelled wrong. So it's kwikdrysystems.com. But the best way, 725-6978.
And I was going to say, if you see water running, don't Facebook or text him. Call him.
Call. Yeah.
Just call him.
Yeah, that's right. So.
Get that taken care of right away.
Yep. You got anything going this weekend, Mary?
I don't. Actually, I think I'm going to try and sit down and read. I haven't done that for a little while, and I like to read, so I'm going to try and maybe relax a little bit, watch it snow, and read a book.
There you go. Sounds good.
Yep.
Well, this is Home Repairs and Solutions. We're heard every Friday morning from 10 to 11 right here on AM 560 KWTO.
Leaks, my rug's a mess, and my front door needs a new knob. I got squirrels in my attic. I got bats in my head. Well, Bob just leaned over the counter, and he shook his